Hello, I'm Charisma Sutherland, your 2024 president, and I'm excited to share some news about two new products that Canopy has to offer. We already launched Forewarn, an application that gives agents the ability to verify identity, search for criminal histories, and validate information provided by potential clients. Down Payment Resource, or DPR, is the second product that we're excited to launch. Leading up to the launch, we are offering this series of webinars to prepare you to be able to use the down payment resource information to assist your buyers and also to educate listing agents and sellers about the important role down payment assistance plays in the markets we serve, where affordability is harder and harder to find. Why is this important? We know that millions of dollars in assistance is underutilized every year just in the Charlotte region alone, meaning the renters may not even know that they qualify for home ownership through the thousands of applicable programs. We look forward to integrating this information so it's available at your fingertips.
Okay, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us. My name is Sean Moss with Down Payment Resource, and we also have in the background some of your Canopy MLS staff, as well as Tracy and Will from our team. They'll be answering questions as we go. Please use the Zoom Q&A feature to log your questions, and we'll track them and leave a little time at the end. So if you've joined us for the last two sessions, in the first session, Will walked us through the basics of down payment assistance and other homebuyer assistance programs. That was your DPA 101 class. And then in the second session, we talked about some of the most common obstacles and objections and apprehensions that we hear about homebuyer assistance programs. And we offered solutions, a number of solutions to each of those objectives or objections. Today, we actually want to show you how down payment resource actually works, both in Matrix and with some of the lead generation tools and other resources that you will have access to this week as part of our partnership with Canopy MLS. So today, we're going to explore down payment assistance programs and how to engage buyers with down payment resource inside your MLS. We're going to show you everything you get as part of the down payment resource tool set, all of which is coming this week. So with that, again, my name is Sean Moss. Thank you all for joining us today. We've got Tracy and Will in the background answering questions. We are recording this, and we will send the recording out after the webinar, or rather your Canopy team will. Just a couple of things to refresh. If you joined us last week, then you heard a lot of this. If you're new to this series, then you should know we are a national database and a matching engine of all of the more than 2,200 homebuyer assistance programs around the country. We partnered with Canopy MLS to help raise awareness of down payment solutions, both amongst you, the realtor members of the MLS, as well as your clients and future or prospective or aspiring homebuyers. We integrate down payment assistance information into property listing data, and we also offer all members of Canopy MLS access to our full suite of tools at no additional cost. And we're going to walk you through what those tools are today. So you can get, so today, essentially, you will leave with a full perspective of the power and the capabilities of our down payment resource tool set. One of those tools we're going to introduce you to today, that's called Down Payment Connect. It is free for all Canopy MLS subscribers, and it is a lead generation tool you can take outside the MLS, upstream from the MLS, and use in your social media, your web, your email marketing to engage with and educate more buyers sooner. The next webinar in this series is going to take that Down Payment Connect tool and discuss that in a lot more detail, in particular by showing you how your peers all over the country are using that lead generation tool and are using the topic of down payment assistance to very creatively engage with aspiring buyers and compel them to dialogue, compel them to conversation. So more about Down Payment Connect in the fourth part of this series, which is coming up tomorrow. But essentially, all of this and we are here to help you connect home buyers to the down payment help they need. Now, just to reiterate, none of the down payment resource tool set costs you anything. We do not have any upsells, no freemium models, and everything is live this week. We're finalizing the integration into Matrix today. So you'll see this any day now. Today, we're going to talk about loans, grants, tax credits, and other types of homebuyer assistance programs that can help achieve the down payment faster, cover closing costs and potentially other costs related to home buying, and eventually or ultimately help aspiring buyers get into a home sooner than they could have otherwise, or sooner than they thought they could. Now, just a kind of a brief recap of the state of down payment assistance. We went over this in the first two webinars, so I'll go over this quickly. There's a lot more out there than just down payment and closing cost help. However, that is most of what we're talking about when you hear the term home ownership program or home buyer assistance or down payment assistance or DPA. A lot of these other types of assistance kind of get lumped into that sometimes. So our first webinar, Will spent a while breaking these out. We do track the DPAs that offer closing cost help as well as some other uses. Remember that they're not all grants. In fact, most are deferred loans. Many are forgivable. Some are grants and some are repayable second mortgages. So there's many different kinds of DPA, and we track all those details for you, which you'll see as we go. There are also affordable first mortgages, typically from your state housing finance agencies, and you also have mortgage credit certificates in your market, which are not available in every state. So there's a lot of different kinds of help out there for prospective home buyers. But again, we broke all that down in the first webinar, so that's just a quick refresher. And also remember, because every state has at least one statewide housing finance agency, there's literally no market in the country, including yours, where there isn't some form of help available in every county or every part of that market. But there are also many local programs available in your market that we'll look at in just a moment that come from not just North Carolina Housing Finance Agency and South Carolina Housing, the two state housing agencies, but also cities, counties, nonprofits, employers, housing authorities, community development financial institutions, the Federal Home Loan Bank Network, community land trusts, and many more. In fact, in your market, well, we'll look at what's in your market in just a second, but we're seeing demand for these programs through the roof. DPA providers have been increasing assistance amounts, income limits, purchase price limits, and more to keep the doors open to more buyers in your market. We continue to see more and more new programs hit the market. Every quarter going back more than 2 years, we've seen a net increase in the number of programs available across the country. These programs are widely funded, they're still available, and they're not going away. Now, what's in your market? And then we'll move on to how to access this information and how the down payment resource suite of tools works for you. There are over 40 programs, 36 of which are funded from 32 different housing agencies in your market. This is the Canopy MLS footprint. There are income limits from conservatively widely available statewide programs that go up to at least $134,000. Now, we don't take the outlier numbers and put them in here. These are the widely available statewide program limits. Purchase price limits up to $726,000 or higher for single family properties. Now, there are some programs that allow for multifamily. We'll look at that in just a minute. But we also see that the down payment programs range in assistance amounts from anywhere from $1,000 to just over $50,000 and an average of about $17,000 in help. And one update from last week, we have now started processing the eligibility of listings in your market. We anticipated about 72% of Canopy MLS listings would be eligible for down payment assistance. Turns out we ran the first full inventory eligibility process yesterday and found that 83% of Canopy MLS residential on-market listings are eligible for down payment assistance, meaning you will see this down payment button on 83% of your inventory as of today, and that number typically will remain pretty consistent barring some wild changes to the actual programs that would open the door to even more eligible buyers or properties. So remember too, these programs are only for owner-occupant buyers, so you can't use down payment assistance to purchase a rental home or an investment property or a vacation home. There also is a minimum buyer investment that might be $500, $1,000, 1% of the price. That's going to vary by program. And also part of that minimum buyer investment is the completion of a homebuyer education class. Most homebuyer programs or most DPA programs will require that the buyer completes that class. But as we talked about in those darn DPAs last week, that doesn't have to be a delay. We all know that it's a common requirement, so make sure that gets done up front. And then, of course, we're not talking about cash buyers. So these are buyers that must also qualify for a first mortgage. Now, to the crux of today's webinar, we want to show you how to access down payment information with Down Payment Resource. What does this look like in Matrix? How does it work? What do we provide to you? What are some of the other tools and resources that come with our Canopy MLS Down Payment Resource partnership? So let's start with what to expect. You will see this down payment button again, this $ with the check mark. You will see it on eligible listings that are on market, so active pending listing statuses. That could be any of the following property types. Certainly single family detached, but also most of these programs will allow for the purchase of condos and townhomes. Some in certain markets or parts of certain markets where there are co-ops will allow for co-ops as well. That may not be as common in your market. However, there are programs that allow for multifamily residential properties. That's going to be duplex, triplex, quadruplex. Now, not every program allows for those property types, but again, as we discussed in those darn DPAs last week, if you were a part of the second session in this series, there are a lot of programs out there that allow for manufactured homes and for 2 to 4 unit properties that can help expand inventory options for your clients to consider. And since I just mentioned it, of course, manufactured homes, there can also be down payment assistance programs available for those. Clearly separating those from mobile homes or those that are not permanently affixed. And to be clear, when you see, or if you want to see this down payment button on a listing, there is no listing input field. This process of flagging and identifying listings as eligible for DPA is fully automated. You don't have to do anything when you list a property for that button to show up if that property is eligible. And as we saw a moment ago, 83% of your on-market residential inventory is eligible for at least one, if not many programs, and will thus have this down payment button in Matrix on single line and agent detail displays, which we're about to look at. All you have to do when you see that button is click on it, and we will tell you which programs and details and next steps about each of those programs are available for buyers interested in that property at that location at that price. And if price changes, then we'll update the down payment assistance eligibility each night. So part of what that means is if you list a property right now at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we actually run our updates nightly. So we will pick up that new listing or any change to an existing on-market listing in our nightly update, and any change in eligibility for down payment assistance will be available or visible the next morning. All right, so those are the kinds of properties where you will see this down payment button in Matrix on agent single line and list views and in One Home. So I'll cover that in a moment as well. Now, this is what you're looking for on listings. And you may see some of the contextual buttons here in other workflows as we talk about the down payment resource IDX feature or down payment connect. But that $ with the check mark, that is our indicator that a listing is eligible for some help. And when you click it, we tell you what's out there. So here's what it's going to look like. This is a screenshot of your Canopy MLS. So out to the right, you'll see a new third-party icon. It'll say DPR, that's Down Payment Resource. That's us, the name of our company. And that dollar sign will be there only if that listing is eligible for at least one available program in your market where that property is located. Excuse me. That button will not be there if that listing is too expensive. Beyond the maximum purchase price limits, we're not going to put that button there because the property is too expensive to be purchased with down payment assistance. Or if it's an ineligible property type, so it's not on the list we looked at earlier, then you won't see this button. So raw land, farm, commercial, you're not going to see down payment assistance on those types of properties. But this is what it will look like in the agent single line. And again, you just have to click the down payment button there and we'll show you the programs that are available. We're going to look at that live in a moment, but I'm going to roll through some screenshots here first. And then if you open up the listing detail page, then you'll see the same thing along with or amidst all of the other third-party icons. Out to the right there, you'll see that down payment button. I've kind of blown it up on the right, but the red arrow is pointing to that dollar sign with the check mark. That again is there if that listing is eligible for any assistance. And all you have to do, even from the agent detail page, is click that button and your browser will open up another tab showing you all of the programs available for that property, including next steps like who are the lenders? How do we take the home buyer class? Links and contact information for the program provider if you want to learn more. And then, now that's the agent experience, right? You also have access to other tools and features as part of our partnership with Canopy MLS. To access those, you can go to your Canopy dashboard. I believe this will be on the Matrix dashboard. And you can click the down payment resource button, and that will take you to your down payment resource dashboard. So separate from the listing integration, you also have access to all of these other tools and features. Now, the first thing on this page here outlined in red, that link is your unique Down Payment Connect landing page URL. Now, the one on the screen that you see is my demo mode, but your link will be waiting for you there. When you click that down payment resource button from your MLS dashboard, that landing page is yours and yours alone. It allows consumers to enter a location and search for down payment help where they want to buy a home, but it's not tied to listings, right? This is for marketing outside of the MLS system. This is for Facebook, Instagram, email campaigns, social ads, your website, and so forth. The next webinar tomorrow is going to be a deep dive into how your peers all over the country are using that tool. And they get really creative. Tomorrow's webinar is probably one of our most fun because there's just some really cool marketing stuff that your peers are doing just with that tool alone. And we're going to show you many examples of it. But there's a lot of other tools here too. So you'll see the marketing resources, the green button on the right. That is access to links, to customizable flyers, graphics, video tutorials, our Facebook group, Down Payment Insiders, and a whole lot more. I'll show you that. And then you also have a number of other tools and resources, particularly those in dark blue on the left. You have the ability to add down payment badges to the same eligible listings on your own property search website and use that as a lead generation tool on your website to capture the attention of some of those eyeballs that are searching for properties on your site. You have a DPR pricing tool that allows you to figure out if a property would be eligible for help and maybe at varying price points if you're trying to win a listing and look for new ways to market that property. And then at the bottom, search programs by name. You also have access to all of the tools, to all of the data that we have about every program across your state. So I'm gonna move on here to kind of a live look in just a moment. But I do want to clarify Down Payment Connect because I am going to give you a brief demo of Down Payment Connect today. But that's to show you one of the more powerful lead gen tools that is immediately available and super easy to use and adopt in so many ways. And you're going to see that tomorrow. But we want you to go ahead and maybe grab your link today, post it on Facebook, see what kind of engagement you get, maybe even before we get off this webinar. But certainly before we get on tomorrow's webinar to explore this tool, this will allow you to engage with and educate new buyers by letting them know that down payment assistance is out there, by offering them a path to find down payment help where they want to buy a home, building your own pipeline as you generate leads from this tool, enhancing your web, email, and social marketing. And again, just as with the rest of our partnership, this is free for all Canopy MLS subscribers. Okay, so let's take a live look. I've got some of this live. Now we're sort of finalizing the integration literally today, but I've got Matrix pulled up, and well, not yet. Here, let's pull up Matrix. So let's do a search. In fact, you can see there's already some news coming out on your Matrix dashboard here. So we encourage you to follow up with or follow along as Canopy makes more announcements. But let me just pull up a quick listing here, and let's look at agent single line and agent detail views. So here's the single line. There is our DPR button, down payment resource, right? And then all I have to do is click on this down payment resource button. And actually, I'm not sure this is going to work yet. Whoop, cool. All right, so for that listing, there were 4 programs offering up to almost $27,000 in down payment help. And you can scroll through and you can see the list. It was that simple. In fact, I'm going to go back a step. All I did was this DPR button, I'm kind of moving it around off to the right there. I just click on that down payment button, and that takes me to a list of the programs available for that property. You can email this list if you want. If you can, you can email it to your client and then text them and say, hey, I just sent you a list of some down payment programs. Let's have a more serious conversation about home ownership and how to get you into a home and get you moving forward. Now, we do separate down payment programs from affordable first mortgages and mortgage credit certificates. You'll see that maybe as we go around different listings. But we give you the program name, how many dollars a buyer might get from that program. Now, one note here, some of these programs are based on a percentage of price or a percentage of loan amount. You can see that here, right? So you're not always just going to get a hard 10,000 or a specific number. Sometimes the benefit offered by a DPA program is based on a percentage of price or percentage of loan amount. So you're seeing that here. The calculation we make is essentially based off the purchase price of the listing, which we know because we have the listing data. So we're going to make an estimate of how much the buyer might get. Now, of course, you have to know that the price might be negotiated. They might have a little more as a down payment on their own. So that number might change. But to give you an estimate of how much they might get, that's what we're doing here on the fly. The benefits are things that we pulled out from the guidelines of that program that illustrate in 2, 3, 4, 5 bullet points what's most unique or advantageous or beneficial about that program for the consumer. And then as I scroll, you'll see this next steps button. You can click on that for any one of these programs, and you can see who the participating lenders are as published by the program provider. This is not our list of partners. These lenders are not down payment resource partners or anything like that. There was a question in one of the earlier webinars in this series about whether or not we get compensated by those lenders or get kickbacks or something. We have a channel where we help lenders, but these links here, these are for you to go directly to the program provider's website, which I've just done, and to view, in this case, you plug in a zip code and search. That's how their website works, right? But that's how you can find who the participating lenders are. We're going to give you a link to whatever the program provider publishes on their website to illustrate who their approved lenders are. Now, if you have a home buyer education requirement for the program that your buyer is using and they have to complete a class, then likewise, we'll give you details about how that requirement can be met. But again, as with all of these other links, these are links to the program provider's website, guidelines, resources, approved lenders, partners, and other content, as well as the contact info for that program provider. So all of that information is available for every program. This list of programs, I believe this was a rather rural area, Denver, North Carolina. This list of programs may go up in urban areas or lower prices where there are more programs available. This list may go down as you get to more rural areas. There are fewer programs in more rural areas typically. Or as price goes up, you may see the program count go down because some of these programs have purchase price maximums or limits. So that is from the agent single line, right? Now, if I go open up that listing and look at the agent detail view, same thing here. I go out to my down payment resource button, the $ with the check mark, and I click on that, and it's going to take me to the same thing, the list of programs available for that property at that location, at that price. Now, if you're doing a search across multiple different cities or counties, you may see from one listing to the next a different set of programs or a different program count because you're crossing municipal boundaries. And some of the local programs may be bounded by city limits or county lines or something like that. So as you move across cities and counties, we're going to account for that. We're going to show you what's available based on the location of that property. Now, I want to log into the dashboard here. I'm going to have to leverage another MLS for just a moment, but bear with me. There's a point to this. You can also see here, this is what it's going to look like when you're looking at a lot of listings and they're all eligible. You see the down payment button for each one of them, and you can go into the listing detail and see the same thing. Now, I want to illustrate what this is going to look like in one home. So let's say we're in Canopy MLS and we've got a client that we want to email some listings to that we think are going to work for them. And I'll send that to myself and grab that in just a sec. But let's also go back to Matrix. And in fact, here, we'll look at Canopy. You'll have your dashboard link here. Or if I go back to our homepage here under Realtor Tools, however you have this widget configured, then scroll down to Down Payment Resource. And again, you see that $ with the check mark there. Down Payment Resource under Realtor Tools. That's going to take you to, bear with me, your Down Payment Resource dashboard, which will look like this. So we saw a screenshot earlier. Now, again, don't go use this link. This is just a demo link for me. But yours will end with your first name _ last name. And I'll show you how the tool works. It's super easy for the consumer. But before we go look at the consumer experience there, you also have marketing resources. So let's open that up. And this gives you graphics packages. You're going to see a couple of these as I show you a few examples of how to get Down Payment Connect out there working for you. You've got more graphics here down the page, some cool stuff our marketing team made for Instagram, but we see it used in blogs, websites, Facebook posts, and so forth. You've got customizable flyers in English and Spanish. Simply pick the flyer that you like, download it. The bottom right quadrant is editable, and the rest of it just kind of speaks to the consumer about down payment assistance and your Down Payment Connect tool. And then you've got Facebook group, live webinars, access to our educational content, video tutorials, and a whole lot more. And again, that was from Canopy MLS. If we go to your Matrix dashboard and we go to Realtor Tools, Down Payment Resource, that's going to take you to your dashboard. And then you can click Marketing Resources right under your Down Payment Connect URL. And the resources there will give you access to flyers, graphics, and so forth. I want to quickly show you how this experience works for consumers, and then we're going to come back here. So here's the consumer experience. Now, we're outside the MLS when we're using this tool, right? We're not sending them listings from Matrix. We're just trying to get the relationship with the client. We're trying to earn more clients. So the consumer is going to enter information about where they want to buy a home. That can be an address, but for the purpose of this tool, it's more often they're just going to search by county, maybe even city, if they have a clear idea of where they want to buy. So for this, I'm going to use Atlanta. I've got my baseline of programs. Now, if as a consumer, I were to say 350,000, I think that's where I want to buy. I've started to exceed the purchase price limits of some of those programs. If I get up to 420,000, I'm exceeding more purchase price limits. We're going to account for that. If they say they want to buy a duplex, well, there may still be help, just fewer programs because they don't all allow multifamily properties. But this is the consumer now engaging with a tool that you put in front of them on your website, email, and so forth. I'll give you a couple examples of how to do that in just a moment, and then we'll give you a ton tomorrow. But if they want to enter their household size and income, let's say 87,000, household of four, we're going to account for that versus the income limits of the available programs. If they have owned a home, but it was more than 3 years ago, they're a first-time home buyer for the purpose of down payment assistance. Will covered that in the first session, in the DPA 101 session. The definition of a first-time home buyer for the purpose of down payment assistance is someone who has not owned a home in the last 3 years, the most recent 3 years. Now, if they owned a home in the last 3 years, there may be fewer programs. If they currently own a home, there may be fewer, but there's still opportunity most of the time because these programs are not just for first-time home buyers, at least not all of them. And then the program count may go up if someone has served in the military. I just went +7, right? Just for military service in Atlanta. Now, if they work in certain professions, there may also be additional programs. I'm +4 for a teacher. Let's see, firefighter +4. So it depends on the market, right? But if you're working with new clients and you offer them this tool, and they enter or identify that they work in one of these professions or served in the military, that could push their available DPA options up. In the end, however, unlike your matrix experience, the consumer is not going to see the list of programs. We're going to see how many programs there are and how many dollars I might get, but they're going to fill out this contact form, and that is how the lead is created. The consumer fills this out, essentially saying to you, I did my down payment resource, or I did my down payment assistance search on your page, and I found out that there may be help out there. I want to learn more. I want to talk to you. I want to take the next step. Then they fill out this form. You get emailed the lead as soon as they submit this form. It does not go to anyone else. That data is not sold to anyone else. That is your lead. Part of our partnership with Canopy MLS is that every one of you has Down Payment Connect for free. The leads are yours and yours alone, exclusive to you. You're not buying leads, and we're not sending you leads. But as leads are generated from your web page, as you're out there marketing the page on Facebook, Instagram, or elsewhere, those leads go to you. As soon as the consumer fills this out, the email with the lead goes out, gives you the information you see on the page, plus the names of the programs they found and links to details about them. Only after the consumer fills out and completes and submits this form will we email them a list of the programs they found with your contact information. So just to be clear, I've seen some questions in Q&A about this. I'll go ahead and address this now. This is not tied to Zillow, not tied to Realtor.com. This tool is yours. This is yours for you to use. In fact, here are some examples of how you might use this tool. This is a small preview of what you're going to see tomorrow in the final webinar in this launch series. This is an agent in Florida, I believe. Under the buy menu on their website, they have a link to down payment assistance. And guess what? When I click that, I go to Brandy's Down Payment Connect page. This is exactly what we just saw, except this one is Brandy's. So anything that happens here goes to Brandy and only Brandy. Likewise, this is an agent in, I think this is also in Florida, actually. So this is a blog post, actually. This agent has a blog and posted about down payment assistance. You can see some of our graphics in here. A couple of these are links to the Down Payment Connect page for Chaz, but he's also got some content here. Down payment money's out there. Let's find it. What is down payment assistance? A little bit of education. Leveraged one of our videos that's homebuyer facing. Feel free to do that too. That's on that marketing resources page I showed you. And then a quick multi-step process rounds out this blog post. Click the button below, enter your info, get your results, call me back. That's it. That's literally and exactly what you want them to do. And then here's one more link to the Down Payment Connect page. In this case, I'll click on it again. This one is for Chaz. Whatever I do here is going to go to Chaz and only Chaz. It's his Down Payment Connect page. Richmond Region Realty. This is a team in Virginia. Now, this is a little bit more detailed, but we show you this because there's a lot you can do with Down Payment Connect. Here we go to Guide to Buying a Home, and then we go to Down Payment Assistance. And then we land on this page where they have actually written out a bunch of educational content for consumers to self-educate about down payment assistance. They started with their own video. They produced this video, but we have some video you can use as well. Then we get into educational content. Here's a link. Guess what? To Down Payment Connect, right? Here's another link in the text. I'll go ahead and click it. This is a link to Ronnie's Down Payment Connect page. Ronnie is the only person getting a lead off this page because it's his. Same for you. That's what Down Payment Connect is for all Canopy MLS subscribers. But what's cool about this page, and you'll see other stuff like this tomorrow, and you know, shorter versions, longer versions, more graphic versions, and so forth. But you know, it's just educational, finances, homeownership history, profession. There's another link to the Down Payment Connect page. So they created this long educational page and wove in Down Payment Connect calls to action here and there. Price, geography, and so on and so forth, right? Okay, now one more example. And again, you're going to see a lot more of this tomorrow, but this is how to use the Down Payment Connect tool in your marketing. So Facebook, Instagram, email, blog, social ads, website navigation, custom web pages, and so forth. So last example I'll show you today as a sort of a preview for tomorrow. This agent is in, I think, the Twin Cities. Yeah. This agent's in the Twin Cities. This is actually a longer, more educational video. This is a 9-minute video. She's talking about future home buyers, down payment assistance, and in the description of the video on the right here offers her Down Payment Connect link so that consumers can watch the video, learn a bit more, pique their interest, and then go do their search for help and connect back to Coachella. All right, so I showed you a number of different ways you can use Down Payment Connect. I'm going to go back to our DPR dashboard. And actually, I'm going to go back one more step because I want to make sure everybody remembers how to get here. So from your Canopy dashboard, go to Matrix and then go to Realtor Tools, scroll down to Down Payment Resource, and that's how you get to your member homepage, your Down Payment Resource homepage. And that's separate from the listing links, right? When you're on a listing and you click the down payment button, you're going to see the programs available for that listing. Couple other things I want to show you so you have an understanding of the full suite of tools. If you have your own property search website, then you can click on DPR on your IDX site, and we give you an example of what this could look like on your own property search experience online. And at the bottom, there is a PDF that you'll be able to send to your webmaster, your website vendor, your IDX vendor, that gives them instructions for how to implement down payment resource or down payment assistance lead generation buttons on your website. And we're happy to help, but this will give them the technical instructions. And then as far as how it looks, I mean, this is one example. I'll give you another one. This is a brokerage in the Twin Cities. If I'm searching for properties on their website and I find one I like and I select it and I'm looking at the listing detail page, then the way they did it on their site, I mean, it could have been above the fold, it could have been out to the right in the sidebar. But if I scroll below the picture, price, and address, before I get into the description, there's this button here that says Find Down Payment Help. That is there because, as we know in Matrix, we know that listing is eligible for down payment help. And your IDX vendor is actually getting that data from the MLS in their IDX feed. That's how they know which listings to put the button on. And then if clicked, that is essentially a similar experience to Down Payment Connect, Except here, we are now tied to listings, right? We know the property is eligible that they clicked that down payment button from. The consumer does get the opportunity to enter the same information about their house, household size, income, home ownership history, and so forth. Um, when they click on Get Details, same as Down Payment Connect, we're trying to win that new buyer, that new client. We know that now we know they were on our website, they were looking at properties, but we want them to be a client. So they're going to fill out this form to learn more about how they can access that down payment assistance. And that's going to drive a lead to, in this case, wherever you route them. Whether it's, a central inbox, a broker email, or if it's your own website, your email, however you decide to do that. So the long and short of it is you have access, or you have the ability to add down payment buttons to the same eligible listings on your website that have them inside Matrix, but use that on your website as a lead generator. Another free lead generation opportunity for you. Now, two more tools I want to show you. The DPR pricing tool. We get questions all the time. Well, what if I want to win a listing? Trying to win a listing, and I am, I'm trying to come up with new ways to market the program or the property or whatever. So sometimes people just want to know, well, what would be available if I were to list this house at such and such price? Okay, well, let's go 8816 Rock Rose Way, and that is in Charlotte at 28214. So we're going to map the property without accounting for price. There's a baseline of 11 programs available for that property. Now, if the property is already listed, you just go to Matrix, do a search, find the listing, and everything's already there, right? It's already integrated. This could be for if you saw someone had a coming soon listing and you want to see, okay, well, I need to check on which of my buyers might be interested in that property. And if there's any down payment help available, I want to know what we can work with. Or I really want to win this listing from the seller. I want to come up with one or two unique ways that we could gather additional attention, additional eyeballs, additional foot traffic to this property so that I can win that listing and help that seller. So I've plugged in an address. I know I've got a baseline of 11 programs. Well, what happens if I assume a price of $350? I go to 8 programs. What if I dropped it back to $335? I'm still at 8 programs. Where's that threshold? $315. I go to 10 programs. So you can toggle the price and you can see what would be available at that price for a property that you're interested in finding out about if it's not listed yet. And of course, obviously, click on view programs and there's your list. You go on down the list, same data you see as if it's a listed property in your inside matrix. Okay, now, last feature I want to show you. We're not here to make loan officers out of all of you. And we talked a lot in the DPA 101 webinar, the first session last week, about the basics and quite frankly, a lot of detail and nuance about these programs. But if you are interested, you do have access to tons of additional data and information about all of those programs in your market. This bottom left button, search programs by name. I'm going to click that. This gives you access to all of the programs across your market. And you can click on any one of these programs and you can see, well, I'm tied to Georgia here, sorry, because I was logged in somewhere else. But you can click on any program here and you can see more of the basics, program terms. If you want to get into, is it deferred or is it forgivable and things like that? You actually have access to a lot of information. If you want to do research, if you want to build up your DPA IQ, if you want to prepare for a meeting with a loan officer that offers a couple of these programs and maybe test their knowledge, or maybe you want to make sure you go in with a coherent understanding of a particular DPA or two, so you feel like you can keep up with the loan officer or gauge their expertise. Anyway, there's a number of different use cases, but just know that you do have access to all of the rest of our data about every program in your market. So that was a lot. There's also one more thing. Coming soon, and I don't have a date for you, there will also be down payment assistance buttons implemented on carolinahome.com for consumers doing a search there so that they can find out on carolinahome.com if there are programs available at the properties they're interested in. And when they engage down payment assistance there, the leads that are created from down payment resource are sent to the listing agent. So there will be one more opportunity to engage the consumer, one more source from which you might find yourself receiving leads or referrals from the down payment resource partnership. So I want to do a quick recap and then make sure we have time for Q&A. I'm going to go back to Matrix, and I want to just show you quickly, if you see I'm going to do a search for one listing here. If you see the down payment button on a listing, let me zoom in there. If you see that down payment button, it is there because that listing is an eligible property type, priced such that it is eligible for down payment assistance programs, at least one, likely several or many. You're going to find that some of the properties in your market are eligible for 10, 12 different programs because you have a lot of opportunity in your market to help home buyers with these programs. Likewise, if you open up the listing detail view, remember you'll see the down payment button across the top with the third-party icons. When you see it, click it. We tell you which programs are available for that property. To access your additional tools, go to Matrix, go to Realtor Tools, scroll to Down Payment Resource, and that will take you to your Down Payment Resource dashboard. That's where you have, first and foremost, your Down Payment Connect landing page. So we encourage you to check that out as soon as this goes live. And if you have the opportunity before tomorrow's webinar, which you should absolutely join, it's going to be fun. You're going to see some really cool marketing ideas. But get this link out there. Put it out on Facebook once, and see what kind of engagement you get. See if you get any leads off of it real quick. And then tomorrow we're going to show you all kinds of creative ways that your peers all over the country are using that really cool tool. Then you have the IDX option. If you have a property search website and you want to leverage search traffic to generate leads using a new unique tool, you have the option to do that. You have the pricing tool, and you have access to more data about all of these programs. So let's go back to the slides here. We took a live look. You got a comprehensive view of what's coming to Matrix. And you know what? I'm sorry, I forgot one more thing. I was going to show you One Home. So we don't have it turned on in One Home for you guys yet, but here is what that will look like. Bear with me. Here we go. So this is an Atlanta version of the same thing, but when you send listings to a client through One Home, they will also see that down payment help is available. They'll know how many programs are available and how many dollars they might get. Now, the consumer, your client in this case, this is not a lead generation flow now because this is already your client. But when you're sending them listings in One Home, they'll see this top of mind above the fold, right? They're going to see picture, price, and down payment. That's what they're going to see in One Home. So this is getting a ton of engagement with other MLSs. When the consumer clicks this, they go to the eligibility form. And we know the property is eligible. The consumer still gets the opportunity to enter their household information if they want to, but they don't have to. So to prove that, I'm going to skip on to the next step. Now, they do have to submit this form because we want you to know when they have engaged with the down payment tool through One Home. So they'll fill this out. That does not generate a lead. They're already your client. It does generate a notification to you that they have engaged with the down payment tool in One Home. So when you get those, you'll know that, oh, okay, I just sent Brandon this list of properties, and I see that he opened up 863 Oak Street and was looking at the down payment tool. I'm going to pick up the phone right now and call him while he's hot, while he's looking at the tool, while he's looking at the listing, and I'm going to try and get him into a conversation now. So anyway, that's how it will work in One Home. Apologies, I forgot to show you that. So now you've seen a comprehensive look at the agent experience in single line and listing detail. your client experience in one home, the Down Payment Connect lead gen tool, the IDX opportunity that you have to generate leads again, forthcoming integration into carolinahome.com, and of course, access to your DPR dashboard for some of those additional resources and tools. We would also encourage you, and we've mentioned this in the last couple webinars, to join the Down Payment Insiders on Facebook. That's a group that we curate. And we started that group because we kept getting a lot of the same questions, or we kept getting people sharing really cool marketing ideas, success stories, how they dealt with objections from sellers or other agents when it comes to DPAs. So anyway, that group has grown into over 12,000 real estate agents, loan officers, counselors, DPA providers that are sharing those kinds of ideas. They're teaching each other, they're learning from each other. There's a lot of networking that goes on there. So we encourage you to join that. We curate and host that group as a benefit for you guys. We get nothing from it other than to serve you. And also remember, leverage the experts. You need to have a loan officer ready to go that meets the 3 criteria we talked about in those darn DPAs last week. You need loan officers that offer DPA, number 1. Number 2, they want your first-time homebuyer DPA business. And number 3, they're good at DPA. They submit good applications, they close on time, they do a lot of volume, they know the timelines, they set expectations with the seller, they overcome objections and apprehensions from sellers and seller agents and so forth. So work with participating lenders who know these programs well and know this business well. They may be your existing loan officer partners. They may be new partnerships that you find through the DPA providers, through your state housing agency, through your broker, through networking events that you attend, now that you know more about these programs. But definitely find those lenders, get those relationships in place. Also, program providers. They have marketing opportunities, marketing resources, educational opportunities, training opportunities, networking opportunities, all kinds of ways that you can get involved, not the least of which is just to learn about their program, right? And then, of course, your peers that have experience. We talked a little bit in the last webinar about keeping tabs on agents that are maybe broadcasting listings coming soon that are affordably priced. Where are they getting that inventory? If they're consistently listing affordable inventory, get to know them. If you've got peers that have lender partners that do a really good job with down payment assistance, get to know those agents and get to know their loan officers. Anyway, leverage your peers with experience. We've been seeing in the chat in the last couple of webinars, there are a lot of agents in your market that are Canopy MLS subscribers that are doing really good work and are having a lot of success. They're doing well by doing good. So leverage their experience, build those relationships. And lastly, remember, DPA customers become customers for life. No first-time home buyer forgets the experience of getting into a first home, in particular, if somebody helped them do it sooner than they thought they could have. And from them will come referral business as well. So here's our contact information. We've got a few more minutes for Q&A, so I'm going to lean on Tracy and Will here. But if you have any questions we don't get to today, then you can reach out to us at info@downpaymentresource.com. And be sure to register for tomorrow's webinar, because that's the cool marketing one where you're going to learn how to take advantage of Down Payment Connect. So Tracy, Will, what's going on in Q&A? Any trends we need to address?
Hey, Sean. First, as always, we always tend to get this question about recordings. I do want to let everyone know it is being recorded, and the Canopy team will be sending that out to everyone probably within the next couple of days. They seem to be pretty fast with getting that sent out to everyone recently. So you will have that. Also, one of the things I wanted to note is I noticed that AJ put in the chat that everything is live now, including One Home, not carolinahome.com yet, but the others are. So while we've been in this webinar, the team behind the scenes have been executing everything. So it should be live for you now. Yeah, looks like Sean, you're pulling it up.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna bring it up so everybody can see it.
Excellent. One of the other things that I did want to touch on are the classes. We've gotten a couple of questions about the home buyer education classes and where to access those. You will definitely want to make sure that they are a HUD approved program. So you can go to the HUD website, which I'll actually drop it in the chat for everyone to see. Um, and you can see all the different down payment assistance classes available in your particular area by going to that link.
Very cool. This is looking good, guys. So yeah, we've been scrambling toward today's. Actually, I think it was originally tomorrow's launch date. So you may be getting this a day early, but single line. So yeah, there you go. There's the down payment resource column. You're going to see that on all eligible listings. You're not going to see it on $1 million penthouse downtown condos because they're too expensive. No DPA at those price points. But click on the link here, and it'll refresh and show you how many and which programs are available for that property. And you can open it up, see the next steps, details, and so forth. We looked at most of this, but I was just going to give you a fresh preview. And if we go back to my matrix, then scroll down, there's access to your DPR dashboard. So awesome, guys. It's live. We're excited. I do see Will. Let me put the contact info back up. Will, you'd marked a question here I want to address real quick. For the lead routing, there was a question on the contact forms that asks if they're already working with a real estate agent. That does not change the lead routing. That's just for your awareness, so that you can follow whatever reciprocity rules are in place. But Will, I see you marked a couple others. What, anything else you want to cover live?
Yeah, there was just one technical question regarding eligibility criteria, and I presume they might be referring to the criteria used to flag properties. For example, if a house is listed with cash as the only payment option due to structural issues, say, well, that shows 0 options for DPA programs.
That's a good question. So unfortunately, it's not a data point we have direct access to. It's not always clear. We're looking at location, property type, and listing status to kind of simplify things. So technically, that property might still qualify for DPA if it were rehabilitated, or could potentially qualify with like a 203K loan and down payment assistance. Now, I realize that question came from somebody with a very specific property in mind, but no, we do not take into account any sort of, seller financing restrictions or financing restrictions in general. Anything else? Tracy, Will, any other repetitive questions that you want to address?
That's all on my end.
Okay.
Same here, Sean.
Brian, anything you guys want to add?
Nope. Thank you guys so much, and look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. Just put the link in for the webinar tomorrow, so if anybody needs it, it's there. It's also on your Canopy dashboard and also available in your calendar on CarolinaRealtors.com. Look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow.
Good deal. Thank you all. Talk to you tomorrow.